Welcome back to the Inside the Industry Podcast Season 4, Episode 6, your ultimate guide to the inner workings of the pharmaceutical industry. Get ready for exclusive interviews, insider tips, and expert analyses from the leading minds shaping the industry. We're here to answer your questions, so don't hesitate to comment below or reach out to our social media platforms. Get ready to dive in the fascinating world of the pharmaceuticals, so let's begin, y'all. Welcome back to Inside the Industry. My name is Ravi. I'm a second-year pharmacy student at the UNC Eshelman School of Pharmacy. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Matthews, who is a senior regulatory affairs specialist at Thermo Fisher Scientific. Dr. Matthews recently graduated from Nova Southeastern University in 2022, where then he directly went into his job shortly after. So, welcome today, Dr. Matthews. It's great to have you today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you, Ravi. That was a warm introduction. Well, I started my pharmacy journey back in 2006 after my high school. I did my high school. I was born and brought up in India. Then later, after my high school, I joined the pharmacy curriculum in India is a 4-year for Bachelor of Pharmacy. So after that 4 years of pharmacy, which is mainly focused on industrial pharmacy, I joined pharmaceutical industry nearby my home. It was a small manufacturing facility, and I joined there as a manufacturing chemist. My journey started as a chemist supervising different formulations like tablet, capsule, and dry powder injection. It was very exciting for me at the beginning because I made it certain at the stage of my college, like I will go into industry rather than choosing traditional career. So industry perspectives may be a little different from other people, like what's the role will be, how you're gonna tackle things, and all. The main focus area will be different from each country and each education system. So once I worked there for like 6 years in India in pharmaceutical industry. Then I moved to United States. I continued my education and I got admission to Nova Southeastern University. I was always looking forward to complete my doctor of pharmacy because doctor of pharmacy will open up a large, big window to all graduates. You can choose a different career path. When I started my school at Nova Southeastern University, my primary purpose was to join any organization related to industry so that I stay focused on my career. So PHO was one of the big window, and they opened the door for me. I got more information because in United States, the pharmaceutical industry is huge and got a lot of opportunity. There are careers that are built especially for like health professionals and PharmDs who has good background in clinical, good knowledge about medicines and pharmacy. Of course, pharmacy, that's where pharmaceuticals, that's where the pharmacists are belongs to. We deal with medicines daily.
Right. Yeah.
So many students, I think we were like 240 students in three different camps. And among them, there are very few people made it to pharmaceutical industry because everybody are willing to continue or are focused on residency, either residency or retail. That was it.
Yep.
And one of my friend who's still working in Florida in one of the clinical research organization, he and his name is Daniel, and myself ended up in job, and many other more than 10 or 15 students got fellowships.
Right.
So, fellowship is one thing, like a best doorway to put your foot into industry. For me, my past experience and a good research and a good CV helped me to got two offers. The first one was a medical device company, and second was Thermo Fisher Scientific.
Right.
Thermo Fisher Scientific, which is because Thermo Fisher has a huge potential. It has a very big room to grow. And even though it is just a CDMO, which is contract manufacturing organization, and regulatory affairs was my primary preference, and that's my interest uh, area where I want to grow and lead my career. While I was in India, I was working as regulatory affairs executive, and but the situation is and scenario is completely different from the US. So, like, just started from last year. It's going to be
Yeah,
1 year in coming months, and
congratulations.
thank you. And it's very so far it's very exciting. I'm learning a lot of things daily, and I'm looking forward for more adventures in future. I'm not sure about tomorrow or in coming years, but
Right.
I set my future and have a goal and ambitions where I want to set as a consultant or a director. That's it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. You kind of alluded to some of the questions I was going to ask, but one thing that I'm really interested in is, how the pharmaceutical industry is different, whether it's in the US and then, for example, India. So
Mhm.
you mentioned that you worked after your BS in Pharm from India, that you worked in a manufacturing company with different compounds and whatnot. Did you see a lot of growth in India where you could pursue a PharmD and then go back to India and maybe work somewhere in industry there? Or were you pretty set on, pursuing a career in the US after completing that PharmD? Or I guess my question is, what are the differences in the pharmaceutical industry when you compare, the US to other companies and institutions, across the world?
Good question. I believe, Ravi, you will have a something in your mind like where you want to go. So
Right.
suppose if you are going to in the regulatory field or any department in a pharmaceutical industry, you must know about the world pharmaceutical. You
Right.
just need to have an idea about what's going on in the world because US market is not limited in US. It's all
Yeah.
around. Compared to India, India is one of the largest generic manufacturing
Yep.
country. I think after Brazil or maybe crossing Brazil zone, Indian pharmaceutical industry has a lot of regulations, but it's not as strict as FDA.
Yes.
But the growth is not limited, I would say, but you have to move. I was in southern part of India, was born and work in southern in some in the state I was born to was not a good career for will not have like there were not much opportunity
Right.
in terms of pharmaceutical industry. You have to move. But if you are choosing a pharmaceutical career in India, I would suggest quality would be a good that would be a good career path, quality
Yeah.
assurance, because that has a huge growth. But unlike if you could compare the development or the number of drug discovery happening in two countries in US and India, India is
Yeah.
far behind. So, and Bachelor of Pharmacy is just focused on in manufacturing,
Yeah.
and the curriculum education has to change and update. So then only it will open a lot of opportunity to pharmacy graduates. I would say, uh, like US has a very in the like a different like you have a lot of choices, but in India there will not be much choices to grow within industry. But it
Right.
depends. It depends. Just my opinion. No,
Yeah,
no.
no, I agree. I mean, I've even seen personally, I mean, some of their drug dumping methods with like different types of hypertensive meds all put together. It's really interesting how they kind of come up with these drug delivery systems down there. And it's definitely unique. Do you feel like there in India, or even elsewhere in the world, like their PharmD curriculum, is it very similar to what you've know, or not that obviously you didn't go to school there, but is it similar in that trajectory to the US programs?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that question. I started my pharmacy, Bachelor of Pharmacy in 2006.
Yep.
PharmD, if I'm not wrong, got introduced in India around 2008 because when I completed my second year.
Oh, nice.
And they're like a lot of people was curious about how PharmD was working, and it's nothing but it's a 6 year course, like just like here, but
Yep.
it's a what's a combination of Bachelor of Pharmacy as well as a clinical courses. So PharmD, I'm not sure about nowadays because I have friends who have completed PharmD from India, and they have a limitations of and their roles are limited in the hospitals. Not much hospitals are hiring them because of regulations.
Right.
There are much regulations like in US. US, you have regulations for pharmacy, you have strict laws for dispensing, and every hospitals have a clinical pharmacy. But in India, the doctors are the monopoly. So
Right.
that's something like political and economy, which I don't want to comment on.
Right. No, definitely. Well, I'm going to switch it up real quick and we're going to talk more about your journey then. Once you got, you finished your BS in farm, now you're here in the US, you're in your PharmD curriculum, you know, just as you asked me earlier, what activities and societies and organizations were you involved in your 4 years in, your PharmD curriculum, and what did you feel like helped prepare you the most for your job after?
Yes. Before I start beginning that, unfortunately, I was a victim of COVID-19. All my career started in 2019. Our college shut down for
Oh
almost
my
2 years,
gosh.
went online. So I lost a lot of opportunities, but
Yeah.
COVID is almost over, but not, I would say diminished. 2019, I started from the at Nova Southeastern University.
Yeah.
So I would say for an aspiring student like you, take opportunity. You are in there are research triangle located in Durham
Yeah.
Raleigh. Take opportunity to work as intern. There are companies they hire interns. They like there are like unpaid internship, maybe like for summer or
Yeah.
winter, maybe 20 days. Take opportunity. That's where you will have a clear understanding about what's going on in the industry.
Yeah.
This internship, when you put that information on CV, that be it. You will get a fellowship. You will have a very good opportunity, a good chance to get fellowship. There's a
Yeah.
big chance to get into industry because when you have an opportunity like in Raleigh Durham area, don't miss it. I missed it because of COVID. I
Yeah.
tried to get into one of the program offered by Apotex, but they dropped in 2020 and 21 due to COVID-19.
Right.
And after that, finally, I was in the accelerator program and I completed my family in 3 years. But
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. IPHO, it's a big platform. You can interact with a lot of professionals. You can
Yeah.
interact with like the summit happening in the APHA and the industrial summits and the webinars, podcasts. You can ask questions to all those professionals
Yeah.
and directors, senior specialists, everybody. What you need, how you can get into industry, what you need to have. They will give information, they will give good advices and give a career path.
Right.
So IPHO was one thing that I first joined in the very first day.
Yeah.
I joined IPHO. I connected through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a very good social media. Connect through people. You did it. Good job. And connect as much as people. Send messages.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will respond to you. Sometimes they will give you a call.
Oh, yeah.
It's more enough because industry, it's maybe big, but people are connected. Most of
Right.
the when you like I would say, I will share one experience. When my manager was talking about a manager in a different department,
Yeah.
she's known to almost everybody in United States as a manager. Now I asked her why, because she got good connections. She talked very nice. She appeared in every conferences, everything. So she
Right.
made connections. So reputations matters.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So
Oh,
when it
sorry.
comes to that networking side of things, would you feel like LinkedIn messages, going to conferences for organization, trying to connect with as many people through school, what tips do you have for that? What do you want to see in a student that messages you or a student that reaches out to you? and is hoping to gain that connection and build a rapport with you.
Great. Well, when I started pharmacy school, I had a very good friend of mine who just graduated 2 years before I joined pharmacy school.
Yeah,
She advised me, like, go to LinkedIn, connect with people. Networking is a key important thing to have when you want to enter into pharmaceutical industry.
yeah,
So what I did was I did chose the basic one, but basic has some limitation. The basic account in LinkedIn, like, oh, sometimes it's like business they use it. Sometimes they will not see. Sometimes you cannot connect, or you have limited like wordings to type.
right.
And but I used the basic at the beginning. But as I approached towards the graduation, it changed to the premium. You don't believe it, you will get the response very fast.
Okay.
Response very fast. You will get kind of your profile will be noted by others. You can
Yeah,
see who viewed your profiles. That's a very good platform to connect. And I
right.
have connected to directly to many HR recruiters of different companies. They are very responsible and they respond to us very fast. And many have my resumes. They directed me to the right people.
Right.
And unfortunately, I may not have that much experience, which they expected. But I found a job, especially at Thermo Fisher. I found through LinkedIn. I found
Yeah,
a job offer of a medical device through LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the best platform, and I would say keep up until you graduate or after graduate, keep up through all through your career. LinkedIn
yeah,
is a platform. It's a very professional network. IPA job will also offer some kind of entry level positions for people who have no experience, but also fellowship opportunities are also there.
yeah. No, that's awesome. And I guess, going off that, we talked about, internships are very crucial to getting yourself out there and understanding the foundation of how
Mhm.
the pharmaceutical industry works. And, I, for one, who is approaching the summer next year, to hopefully get an internship, wants to know, let's say, for example, for many third year and fourth year students who are now applying, and, preparing themselves for a fellowship, if they don't land a fellowship, what are the alternatives for them to get, a job, or, what are alternatives for them to do with their whole, curriculum focused on the pharmaceutical industry? What do they do? Because, in their mind, they're probably freaking out that they didn't get an internship or a fellowship. Very competitive. What do they do?
Like true, I was in that situation.
Yeah.
So I can still recall that time in 2021. I started preparing for fellowship in 2021 September, asking my professors for a recommendation letter, created a good CV, but I didn't find any fellowship. I reached to third level, but it
Yeah.
was so competitive.
Right.
Like fellowship, there are a lot of different roles. They will offer fellowship in different roles, like market, regulatory, medical affairs. These are people are going behind this too. So
Yeah.
you must choose very carefully which one.
Right.
You may have 100 or 1,000 people applying for regulatory affairs. You will not have, you may have only 10 people applying to market access or some other new department. So
Right.
you choose. Yeah, because fellowship only help you to enter, and it's still a college curriculum. You know that, right?
Yep.
Your job is not sure. You maybe 1 year, 2 years spending and getting a stipend, and but that for a 2 year experience or fellowship experience, the companies will count that. They will accept it. And I
Yeah.
have I have a friend who just completed fellowship and got he landed up in a company as a manager medical information.
Right.
I don't know which he started as a different he started with it. I think with he chose a fellowship and not medical, something different.
Yeah.
But should be wise. Medical affairs and regulatory, I will tell you, that's everybody is going into that.
Right.
There are different fellowships. So for people who, when I started, okay, I'll drop that. When I started, I didn't get the fellowship, but I didn't give up. Then I found a good friend in LinkedIn. He helped me to tweak and create a good resume. He gave
Yeah,
me good uh, tips, and he trained me and he mentored me. And after his mentoring, what I did was I chose premium of LinkedIn. I started applying the I put the CV he helped me to he created. You don't believe it. After 2 weeks, I started to get calls. Calls before graduation, I got two offers.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Don't worry if you didn't get fellowship. That's not the end because industry there are huge opportunities. A lot of only problem is how to get into it because when they interview you, they want to know what do you know about this role, what do you know about pharmaceutical industry, do you have a CV because CV is filtered by the computer system. You should have a very good CV to outstand among the 100 or 1,000 CVs. So
Yeah,
there are different techniques to make it more unique and keep it separate from others. So that's all matters. So fellowship is like one thing I will tell you. Fellowship, sometimes I'm not going to degrade our fellowship or something. If you get a job offer and
yeah,
a fellowship at the same time, choose job because fellowship you get a maybe 60,000, 50,000 a year.
right,
Job, it's job. You get an insurance, you get a full-time job. The time you complete 2 years of fellowship, you'll be in senior position.
right,
You jump into you'll be managed. Things will be different.
right. I like that advice. I appreciate it. Would you say that there's like for one, just in the pharmaceutical industry, because as you kind of alluded to earlier, and what I've seen here at UNC is, UNC is a very clinical school. It's very clinical oriented. They have a really great fellowship program that, isn't, in my personal opinion, hasn't been advertised enough. A lot of students want to go into clinical pharm. A lot of students want to get the residency, work on the floor inpatient, or they want to work community. They really appreciate that patient interaction. However, industry is such a big thing, and for my personal opinion, I think it's going to blow up within the next 5 to 10 years. That people are going to realize that the lifestyle balance, the things you can accomplish with pharmaceutical industry, maybe a little bit more rewarding. What do you think? And where do you see the pharmaceutical industry and maybe just pharmacy in general, those trends with students and the next generation within the next 10 to 15 years?
Well, the trend is it's unprecedented and it's unpredictable. I have seen many people who works in retail reach out to me how to enter into pharmaceutical industry because they are burned out.
Yeah,
They are stressed. I still remember a guy from California reached out to me how to get into it. They told what you're doing right now. He's been working as a pharmacist for past 10 years.
yeah,
Then I told him California is a good place. You have a lot of pharmaceutical. Just get into them, ask them, because pharmacists are needed in some role. If
yeah,
you head of medical communication, medical information, medical science liaisons, three departments. If you have a good knowledge of clinical, if you are working as a pharmacist, you can apply that skills. You can
right,
apply that customer skill. You can then what's that presentation skill into this
yeah,
department. MSL is growing like anything, and medical information every day that there are new approvals happens every week. So I'll see a lot of PharmDs are coming into industry, but not as much as needed because if you look into any company or go to their website, you can find there are a lot of positions unfilled.
yeah,
Getting the right people, getting the people with the right knowledge is a very crucial thing for each company. And I have seen in my company, from past experience, because companies put a lot of effort to train them and they don't stay there. And they they resign or jump into another. That's some different thing. But like you said, in coming years, I would say PharmDs, if a lot of organizations and they they work efficiently and college advertise more about industry, more and more people will come and realize about the opportunities of it. I will share one experience. When I was in a group discussion with my friends,
Yeah,
we were six people. Out of six, four people, they don't even know about pharmaceuticals. They don't even know about how a pharmacy industry works. They were thinking
right.
about something else. So I understood that lack of knowledge and lack of information is something that students needed information about what the opportunities and what the role and responsibilities they can do as
Yeah,
a pharmacist in industry. So likewise, in here in United States, the curriculum they are mainly focused on clinical research and many just not just UNC, many universities are focused on residency as
yeah,
well as clinical.
yeah.
Yes.
No,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah. When I was in, I chose one subject. I don't.
Yeah,
If you have an opportunity to choose an elective, do something
yeah.
related. I
Yeah,
chose.
as our curriculum goes on, I believe we get more, I guess, autonomy to what we get to pick course-wise, I believe to some degree.
Yes. Yeah, I chose regulatory and marketing. Yeah, because I was not interested in pursuing a
Yeah.
clinical role.
So I guess I have two questions going off of what you just said here. For one, you talked about the role of the pharmacist and that there is a niche in these pharmaceutical companies where we have a role. With the clinical experience and the knowledge we have learned through our curriculum, we have a role that we can, advise and, whatnot and contribute.
Hmm.
So I guess going off of that, what is your day-to-day role? What does your day-to-day look like as, a regulatory affairs pharmacist at Thermo Fisher?
Yes. Thank you. Um, Regulatory affairs is always a surprising job. Today's job will not be the same as tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's why everybody say you can read and understand regulatory affairs from book, but nobody can teach you because it's all about experience.
right.
Regulatory affairs is the only department that communicate with the external health agencies globally and as well as domestic. So you
Right.
may be being at Thermo Fisher. We are serving a lot of customers, more than 120, 130 customers.
Yeah.
They market their medicines all around the world. We have to deal with different questions come from different health agencies, questions from customers, FDA, everything. So they will ask a question today, the question will be different for tomorrow. So it's all about if you are interested in reading,
Yeah.
if you want, because you don't want to apply your clinical knowledge in anything regular. There
Right.
might be a very least circumstances or situation where you want to use it. Here, you want to use the teamwork. You want to dedicate your time in front of a computer for a long time. You want to read the documents. You want to understand the real question of what the information they're asking for. How to
Yeah.
provide the information. You have to cross-functionally. You have to work with the different departments. You have to have a good communication skill, especially to draft an email. Talk. These are the daily jobs that I work
Right.
with. Communication, teamwork, drafting and creating documents like drug master files. Just
Yeah.
and a lot of stuff, lot of different departments I work. Being Thermo Fisher is a CDMO. Thermo Fisher, we don't own a product. We manufacture for others. Maybe in
Okay.
future we will have our own product.
Right.
So roles are a little limited, but compared to Eli Lilly, Pfizer, Novo Nordisk, they have a clinical. They from product development to product marketing. We do
Right.
have a product development batch, but we do clinical.
Yeah, definitely. And then I guess my second question going off of that, is, you talked about how, when you came into pharmacy school, you made sure your industry, and, not everyone's going to come in, knowing that they want to do industry. I mean, I came into school thinking I was clinical, or at least as of now, I believe I'm more on the industry side. But being able to, kind of cater your coursework to, the pharmaceutical industry, would you recommend students where the programs do allow to, partner that with the PharmD MBA program? That's, one of the more, common things now where students, have the opportunity to, complete their MBA in the middle of their curriculum while doing the PharmD and coming out with 2 degrees. Would you find that useful, and in what roles?
Very good question. So I will say I will give an advice, two advices. First advice, if you get an opportunity to do MBA alongside with your family, suppose you are from UNC, and I believe UNC has a good MBA program. And if
Yep.
it's affordable and it does not make a huge burden on your student loan, it's good because one of my friend who has dual MBA and PharmD program ended up in a manager position now.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do, it's okay. There are a lot of companies that offer you education, sponsor you. After once you complete a year or maybe 2 year, they will
Hmm.
sponsor your education, just like Thermo Fisher. The Thermo Fisher, Eli Lilly, a lot of big companies, they want their employees to grow. So they
Right.
offer sponsorship and like they assist tuition. So you don't need to pay anything out of your pocket. You can do an MBA for free.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you. And I guess, my, final question that I have, it's kind of very overarching. Um, do you have any overall advice? So for students kind of going through this, for our fourth years, for your first years, for all of us, do you have any advice you wish you heard when you're in the PharmD program pursuing industry for all of us?
Yes, I wish somebody would advise about me about a good CV because I find my friends through I told you through LinkedIn and all. So first year, if you are focused to enter into industry,
Yeah.
find go to the company website. Go to each company website. If you
Yep.
have friends or relatives, go to them, ask them, do you have any program of summer internship for students? Try to get into internship if possible. No problem if you didn't get it. It's not that. Second, try to participate in because companies they don't want somebody like a they know that you have knowledge. It's not that's knowledge. They want to assess your teamwork, your participation, your communication. So
Right.
if you do any leadership position, or if you will get into any organization, try or you are social and you are active all through the 4 years, that
Yeah.
matters. That's what all companies are needed
Yeah.
because it's something that connect back to different skills like soft skills.
Right.
Third, fellowship is a good gateway to enter into industry.
Yeah.
A good CV, try prepare for interview, participate in all the webinars and conducted by IPHO and MCPHS, Rutgers program, etc. So because they will give you insight about what's going on in the interview, what questions. Prepare good. Be confident.
Yeah.
Talk nicely, and talk about like self introduction is something that's very important in fellowship. It should be like 1 or 1.5 minutes. Don't brag.
Right.
Just precise.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the advice. I, for one, and I'm sure our listeners and viewers will as well. We appreciate your different and unique perspective that you've brought along here to the podcast. Thank you again for making the time to meet with me. I know you're a very busy man, and I'm sure you work a lot, so I really do appreciate
Yeah, Monday to Friday, it's company.
it.
Saturday, Sunday, family. But I like all fun. I want to help people, students, to get into industry. I try to help. At least if I can bring changes to one's life, that makes me happy. That's what my goal.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't forget to hit that follow button and be sure to check out our Twitter page and YouTube. Join our community and help us grow by sharing our content with others who'd find it valuable. Also, stay tuned for our new consulting business that'll help students land their desired internships. Let's build a community of insight enthusiasts together. Thanks, guys.